How many of you guys know what a cash conversion cycle is? This is fantastic. We're like we're supposed to be business people. You post all the time, my business, I'm an entrepreneur. Cash conversion cycle is the time it takes to talk to somebody to the time they sign a contract. Your farm area, does that have a long cash conversion cycle or a short one? Long. Just listed, just sold calls, is that a long cash conversion cycle or a short one? So you mean to tell me the reason I'm not doing business because I'm focused on things that have long cash conversion cycles? Sitting in open houses, is that a long cash conversion cycle or a short one? Okay. I need to put you up here for facial expressions. She was like, no way, dude. I'd sit there and I'd hand out cookies and I don't get paid for 12 months. The reason why you're not producing the outcomes that you want is because you're using strategies for an environment that is different from the one that we're in. In the environment that we're in, can people have a level of motivation of like, you know, I just want to get some more room for my dog in the backyard? Is that going to cut it? No, they have to be highly, highly motivated. So wouldn't it make logical sense to spend time in pools of data with people that are highly motivated? What would be examples of that? Probate. You guys realize we live in heaven's waiting room? Largest elderly population in the United States. Cash conversion cycles about 90 to 120 days. But then you know what you'll say to me? What would be the resistance? Why wouldn't you want to talk to them? Oh, I don't want to, I'm such a good boy and they're going to yell at me. They're going to get angry at me. They're not going to like me. Focus on leads independent of what you have to do in order to learn how to take advantage of them. You know what another one is? Cash offers. It generates leads. How many people are going to accept that cash offer from them? 2 to 5%? Yeah. So you know what that means? The other 95 of the leads, they sell them back to you for 40%. And you're like, oh, thank you. Like a little birdie, feed me, please. So wouldn't it make logical sense to focus on those lead sources, to generate leads for yourself? Yes? So this is the model. This is the blueprint. Motivated, qualified individuals. And then if there's less transactions, traditional transactions, how many people besides me have ever been sitting down with somebody and they said, I don't care what you say. I don't care if you walk on water. I am not listing my home. I don't care if you can give me more money. Anybody besides me ever said that? I've heard that a million times. What do you do with those people? Okay, call them back again. See, this is good because she's a rock star listing agent. I understand where she's coming from and this will help her to reframe her thinking. I try to ram down their throat, what? To list it. Because it's the only thing I can help them with. It's the only product. Can you imagine if you went to the grocery store and all you had was Coke and that was it? I had nothing else to give them. So you know what we do? We try to get them to convince them to list. They tell us no again. Then they talk to Aidelys and she makes 100 grand because they just want a cash offer. And we gave it to her like this. Go ahead. You see how foolish that is? So if there's less opportunities, wouldn't it make logical sense for me to learn this product knowledge? The answer is yes, right? Now, once you're having these conversations, this is where it comes down to this. So this is the context of this conversation. This is why this conversation is so important. Because I believe that this environment of 6% interest rates, it's not going away anytime soon. And if your lead sources aren't set up for being able to deal with that, you're gonna have to go do something else. And then you'll be that person and be like, I used to have my real estate license. Isn't that great whenever you speak to somebody who says that? You know what I always think to my head? Well, you weren't that good at it. People usually don't leave stuff where they make lots of money. How do we have this conversation? How do we transition in this conversation? So let's imagine for a moment, we're talking to somebody and it's a seller lead. And we can start to walk through and pre-qualifying with this mental map of like, hey, I have multiple options to provide you. Not just list the property, but there's these other types of transactions that we could be doing and facilitating and we can.
I simplified it for them and I have 3 lines or scripts that they can use. But just what I've noticed from working with agents and the own transition that I had to make, it's a lot of limiting beliefs is the reason why agents don't transition into the cash offer. So the first one is, well, if I give them a cash offer and they accept it, like, what am I going to do? I don't have the money. So I hope you guys overcome that limiting belief.
Has anybody ever had that belief? Come on, bro. Everybody's hand should be up.
Yeah.
I know you do.
I've talked to a lot of agents and they're scared that the person's going to say yes because they don't know what to do.
We just had this conversation, did we not?
That's the first limiting belief. The second one is you overcomplicate the process of transitioning to a cash offer. You think it's this whole thing when it's really just one question. And the question that we ask, and in every single script that you do, whether it's expired or physicals, hey, I have different options that I can provide you based on what you and your family are looking to accomplish. Which one of the two would be a better fit? Selling it to a cash buyer directly or listing on the market?
How many of you internally would resist saying something like that? Because in your mind, what you're thinking is if I give them that other option, I'm out. Does that make sense? That's where that came from, that thinking, well, I'll call them back again and I'll convince them to list the property. Does that make sense? Versus, hey, whichever option you decide, I will support you 100%. Does that make sense?
The other limiting belief that I see a lot of agents is they think that the cash offer is going to harm the seller because we've been ingrained, I don't know why, that our goal is to get them the most money possible. And that's the pitch that we always give the seller When in reality, a lot of sellers, you'd be surprised, don't care how much money they make, because money is not the problem they're trying to solve. It's a house problem or an emotional problem, or they don't want to deal with a lot of the issues problem.
Can you give an example of a deal that you did frequently where it wasn't money, it was something else?
Oh, we have one right now. We locked up with Mark.
Yeah.
Mark is a member of our community. So he had reached out to the seller. It's a probate situation. He had 2 houses. One he was living in and the other one was empty. He's going through a lot of medical challenges and issues. Mark went in for a listing presentation and he told him, look, I'm dealing with all these medical challenges. I have to clean out the property to get it on the market and list it. And I just don't want to deal with that at all. I have to focus on my health and I just want something quick where I can get rid of the house and I can move to be closer with family. So for him, the process of listing the property and going through all of that wasn't worth it. Initially, the property's worth $350. He went from $300 to $270 because for him, money wasn't the problem. It was getting rid of all this situation and being able to focus on himself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I'll give you guys different scenarios to start to reframe your mind. One is speed. So for a lot of sellers, listing the property comes with a time frame. And you can ask questions around that. Like, what's the ideal time frame that you want to sell the property by? If they say, I need to sell it quickly, automatically you have to ask what's important about that. And a lot of times you'll realize it's a foreclosure issue where we're in a tight time frame. They have a job situation where they need to move by a certain time frame, or they just want to be out of the house for whatever reason. Probate, for example, for them, it's really emotionally difficult to be in the house. Their husband just passed away. They don't want to spend one more moment in that house. So speed is one of the key reasons why someone would sell lower.
Yeah, and I think it's important, like what just popped into my head is like, just asking them. So, hey, just so I'm clear, whatever you decide, I'll support you 100%. Which would you prefer? Would you prefer like an off-market sale, right? Where we don't actually put on the open market? And obviously, if we do that, it may be a little bit less than what you could get on the open market, just for speed or efficiency. Or would you prefer to actually, prepare the property, deal with showings, and ultimately put it on the market and on the MLS? Whatever you decide is okay. I'm just trying to get clarity on what's important to you.
Another limiting belief is they think that they're taking advantage of the seller. When in reality, I've never bought a house from a seller that called me the next day and told me, like, you guys are taking advantage of me. There's a big misconception with investors and older people, right? Older people know what their house is worth more than all of us because they have a lot of free time. And trust me, they're on Zillow. So you're not taking advantage of anyone. You're providing someone with exactly what they're looking for. That's what it's about. Versus creating resistance by pushing them towards a listing when that's not necessarily what they want.
That's right.
It could work backwards, right? What I want to also teach you guys is with the cash offer framework, not only does it help you guys do deals on the investment side, but it helps you get more listings. Because there's also the opposite of that. A lot of times sellers come in wanting a cash offer, but then they realize they have the time, they can wait, the house is in perfect condition, and they're not okay with selling their house for less than what it's worth. And what you do in that moment is transition back to the listing, because that's what's more important for them.
So do you see what's happening there? Mm-hmm. So like you put all these leads in a funnel. Your probate leads, your past clients, cash offer leads with people raising their hands saying they want cash offers. You get really good, which we can probably role play, how to ask questions to find out what they're actually interested in. While I'm unattached to whatever outcome, like whatever they decide. What spits out the bottom of this funnel is either a retail deal, and if it's retail, great, you list it. And just like with those other cash offer programs that these big platforms have, most of them will probably turn into listings.
When they say, well, I'm interviewing 3 or 4 more agents, that is the biggest thing that we have right now is everybody's interviewing 3 or 4 agents. So even though you're offering them cash, they still want to see what other people can offer them.
Yeah.
So what do?
It's normal, right? Here's what you get really good at is intuition, sales, like tingling intuition. If they're already interviewing agents, then my thought process is it seems like they're leaning more towards the agent direction. So what I'm going to do to set myself apart is tell them that I can provide them multiple options at that listing appointment. So go for the listing appointment, but let them know since you're exploring the cash offer and the listing route, I can actually provide both options for you.
Because they view them in their mind as separate.
Yeah.
And all the other agents are just presenting them the listing. They're trying to ram it down their throat. Like, list it, we can get you more money, this. And what we don't realize is when me and you go on a listing appointment, they probably talk to Aidelys first. They explore the cash offer program before they even talk to us.
It's also about asking, everything comes down to sales and asking really great questions and understanding what's important for them. So if they say, hey, I'm interviewing multiple agents, but I'm also looking at both cash offers, I would dive into both directions to figure out what's important to them about each one.
Yeah.
So like, hey, I'm right now it's a probate situation. So I'm talking to like 3 or 4 agents, and I'm also, looking at my options for cash offers. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So it sounds like you're exploring all your options. So which one of the two do you think you're leaning more towards, the cash offer or the listing? Well, I'm leaning more towards the cash offer. Oh, really? Can you tell me a little bit more? Why are you leaning towards that option? And a lot of times they'll give you all the answers.
They'll tell you how to sell them. You know what's so cool for me? So I personally coached Aidelys for 3 years, and all she wanted to do with me was role play. So we would role play consistently for 3 years, and now she's an assassin. So it's so cool. Like I was like, go ahead, and she's like, blah blah blah, to watch that take place.
Yeah. So my background, because Aaron is, he loves to brag about me, is we coached for 3 years, and we would just role play, and the skills I have as an agent translate to the investment side. It just makes me better, because what a lot of agents miss is they're not really great at negotiating and presenting multiple solutions, which investors are. And now I've got that skill set down. What a lot of investors don't have is the empathy of really connecting with the seller. And I've got that down because I learned that from being an agent. So if you can combine both,
you're a
killer.
Yeah, you're a killer. That's
because
exactly
you've got both skills. So if we can work on whatever skill you're missing right now, like it sounds like you're a great listing agent.
Oh, she's a rock star, yeah.
Then can we build on presenting multiple solutions, and you'll crush the market.
Money is just a word, right? It's not about the money, it's about what it allows us to do. Because through money, we could do a lot for others, we could do a lot for ourselves. You also wanted time freedom. I don't know, I got sold on the idea that I was gonna be my own boss, have a flexible schedule. That's why we became realtors, a lot of us. Listen to a podcast and you're like, yes, they have all this free time, they run their own business. And then you are in the real world, you're a realtor, and you find yourself working Monday through Sunday, not having days off. That's not the way that I wanted to live my life.